Thanks for coming. Who told you to come over here? Was it me? What you doing? Y'all want to pull up a chair? Y'all want to have some story time? I've got a good one tonight. I referred to it earlier. Um, some of y'all should be happy. I got the ring light. Can y'all tell? Does it look better? Do you like the lighting better? Let me know. Let me know. I don't know. Like, it has all these different settings. I don't know which one is going to be best yet. But I did bring y'all one painting today. I was in a hurry to get out here and do my video. So I just brought you one. This is still one that's left over from yesterday's videos. If you want to go back to see this painting with a few others. And then, in the meantime, I did bring you one more. This was the last one out of the box, and I didn't want to go looking through another box. So I'm like, well, I'll just show them one today, and then we're going to get into the bigger ones, you know. Okay, so this one is a landscape of some deer. Let's see if I can get that shine. I don't know how to get that shine off there for y'all. Just work around the shine, work around the shine. I'll zoom you in here so you can see the deer. I'll try to angle it, but it's going to look funny because they're not really standing like that. If I angle it away, maybe. Nope. And then there's a baby. Oh my gosh, it's so much light. There we go. There's the baby. If I angle it like that, y'all can see it, but then that gives you a weird perspective because it doesn't look like that. It's really pretty. You can see it without the glare. Sorry about that. If you want to see it better, you can go over to my Instagram account at RhondaMills67 and you'll be able to see this one better. I was in school again most of the day today. I'm still not done. Today I worked on my essay, and it was only a one-page essay, but what I had to read to do the essay was so long, and I didn't know. Like, I started taking notes, like, as if this thing wasn't really going to be that long, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm 10 pages in. Let me see how many more pages before I get to the end. And it was 26 pages. So I was like, oh my gosh. But let me tell y'all about what I learned today when I did my essay. So the essay I did was on a German immigrant that wrote a book called The Narrative of Colonial Pennsylvania. But that wasn't really the part that was so interesting to me, although that was interesting too. But so he came over to Philadelphia in 1750, and he left in 1754 and went back home. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why, but the main thing that I wanted to talk about was that voyage they had on the way over here. Y'all, it sounded horrendous. I can't believe the way that they treated people. Not that they don't treat people badly now. Not that we don't have like a lot of things that still need to be taken care of, especially like people in prison, homeless people. But this was beyond. So they crammed you when you wanted to take a passage to go to the new land. They made all these promises about all of these things that you were going to get when you got there. What you weren't aware of is exactly how long that journey was going to take, what was going to happen along the way, and what was going to happen to you when you got there. So let's say that you're like, hey, that America sounds good. We should save all our money and go over there. So you get all your money together, you get your family together. Let's say that you have 3 kids. You have it's you and your husband and 3 kids, and y'all are going to go to America, right? So you go and you get on the boat. You get a 2-foot by 6-foot space, which is, just enough for a human body to be there. they they don't tell you, but they stop at all of these ports along the way. And when they stop at those ports, depending on what they're loading or what they have going on, they could be there for weeks. So all this little stash that you have of money that you were going to use when you got to America, you're now using to eat and do all that kind of stuff off of the boat while they're loading or doing whatever they're doing. And this goes on, port after port. It takes a long time. So they started off in early May and got here in late October. Now, aside from burning up a lot of their money at the ports, and so now they have nothing for the boat. So now they can't eat on the boat. Now they're hungry on the boat. The boat used to give them warm meals 3 times a week. And he said they ran out of food pretty quickly, and the food that they gave them wasn't all that good anyway. They never really had access to clean water. The water that they drank was black and full of worms. And he said that when they ran out of everything, they got into these stale biscuits, which, when you're going stale biscuits, well, that's not so bad. Some stale bread, no, like way beyond stale, right? Like they were filled with red worms and spider nests. Spider nests, y'all. Spider nests. Like where they all live, y'all. Oh my gosh. He said that children that were under 7 just didn't make it, period. And if you didn't make it, they just threw you off the boat. You just went into the water. However they could get you there, depending on if where you were located on the boat. And he told the story about this one woman that was giving birth, and she was having a hard time because the stress and nothing clean, no water and all of that. She couldn't get the baby out, so they just like stuffed her through one of those portholes on the side and put her out of the boat, alive, pregnant, fixing to have a baby, y'all. Seriously. They they always had measles and smallpox on these boats, and just dysentery, scurvy, and not to mention like anxiety and all types of mental issues. They got seasick in all ways, shapes, and forms. There was, nowhere to move or get rid of all this stuff. So you could be laying right next to sick people. And he said they would go through these giant, like, gale force winds that would cause waves the size of mountains to hit the boat. And then when it did, like, they didn't have anywhere to go. He said it didn't matter if you sat or stood or knelt, like, you're going to get all thrown around. So all the sick people would wind up on top of the well people, and everybody would get all mingled up and bashed together, and people would fall and get maimed, and like just all kinds of horrible things would happen. He said one of the worst things is when somebody lost a family member. So if your wife didn't make it, your husband didn't make it, they just throw them overboard. You're right there witnessing the whole thing, you know what I mean? And he said when they would throw the children off, that the women would do this, wailing cry. And he said, like, your heart would just bleed, and there's like nothing that you could do at that time to console them, which sounds, horrendous, knowing somebody's, going through all of that. There's like nothing you can do. Just nothing you can do. And that's happening to a bunch of people. So on the journey over, when he came over in 1750, they threw 32 children off. I don't know how many adults, but you get a vision of like how bad it was. So you think that's the bad part, like the journey, right? Like they see Philadelphia and they see the waterways and they're like, oh my God, we've made it to the land. They see mountains in the backgrounds and all of that. I'm from Pennsylvania. I've been to Philly. I don't know where they saw mountains at, but it's been a long time since I've been there. But anyway, they they would be all excited thinking, yeah, we're fixing to land. There's land, you know. So the ones that were starving to death or just needed a drink of water, like they're thinking, oh, we're finally going to get there. Like, I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to get something to eat. Mm-mm, no, because you can't get off the boat unless your passage is paid for. So if you had enough money left over in your stash to cover your fare, your husband's fare, your children's fare, which they only charged half price for children, they were so merciful. Um, but if you couldn't pay whatever that passage was, and nobody could, then you had to become an indentured servant. So you had to wait for someone to come purchase you and take you off the boat. And they hardly ever took like whole families. So maybe your husband went to one purchaser and you went to another and your children went to another. Or if you had enough children, you could sell your children and let them go do the work and then you could be free. But then, you know, you're not going to see your kids. Like it was, you know, what a shitty trick. You know what I mean? What a shitty trick. So this guy that I read about wrote this book as a warning to when he went home to all of the other people in Germany or anywhere that would read it. Before y'all decide you want to go to this land and you want to take this passage, know this. Know all of these things before you decide whether or not, you know, it's worth it. Is it worth it to lose your family on the way over? Is it worth it to lose your freedom? Um, he ended up coming out of all of that pretty well. He became a schoolmaster and he lived in the country outside of Philadelphia and he did well. He got along with people. Um, but he was a Christian man and he said there was a lot of, at that time, there was already 8 churches in Philadelphia of all different, you know, because Pennsylvania was the one place that was like, we don't care what religion you are. We don't care what race you are. We don't care where you come from. Come on over. It's fine. They wanted to make friends with the Indians. They did not want to accept slaves. I mean, Pennsylvania was, you know, proud that, you know, they were like that back then. It's because William Penn was so great. And those were his thoughts and his ideas. And so, um, anyway, so this man, and I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to tell you. It's like Gottlieb something, Middleburger or something like that. I don't want to say it wrong. So, uh, he was a Christian and he, you know, did a lot of research on all the pastors that were around, talked to everybody and all that kind of stuff. And he began to find out that there was like a lot of shysters, a lot of people that weren't really like they knew the Bible, but they weren't about the Bible. You know what I mean? And it just like made him sick. And he was like, I would rather be back in my home country, like digging holes and working on a farm for my food than to be around all these fake people. Because it wasn't just that, that, because it was nice there, right? Like he said, they had meat with every meal. That every time they had bread, they had butter or cheese. That everything was available there because it came in from all over the place. Portugal, the West Indies, Spain, France, England, things were coming in. Um, and they talked about how everybody had a horse and they would ride their horses everywhere, even if where they were going to walk was only 30 minutes, they'd still ride their horse. So it sounds like they were a little, you know, not snooty, but, you know, it was a little more posh over in Philadelphia at that particular time. It's not now, trust me. Um, I mean, it's crazy to see the Liberty Bell on a sidewalk. I think somebody told me that they've moved it or they've done something else with it or they built like some kind of shelter around it. But when I was a kid, we went to Philly as a school trip, and because it's like 3 hours from my house, and I remember we just, we were all excited about seeing the Liberty Bell, and it was right there on the sidewalk. Like, of course, that's just a replication. The real one is, don't get me to lying, but it's somewhere in a building. But the replica, I mean, it's not that big of a bell, I mean, I know it's heavy, but it looks like me and another strong person could lift it. You know what I mean? It's not as big as you think it is. And then to just see it on the sidewalk, it's like so weird. But like I said, I heard they changed that. But so that guy, he just, went back to his homeland and called it a day. And I get it. I, I get it. I mean, I don't like a bunch of fake people either. All right, so y'all want to hear a story? Do y'all want to hear a story? All right, here we go. Picture it. It's like 1996. Yeah, it's like 1996. And I had never left the United States. Like, I'd been on a plane and I'd been to Florida and like a couple other places, but I hadn't like left. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Puerto Rico's still like, British Commonwealth. We still kind of own it and all that stuff. But you're getting in a plane and you're going. Don't spoil my stuff. I didn't go to Italy, but I left. You know what I mean? I felt like a real trip. Because for us broke people, getting on a plane is a big deal to go somewhere. So anyway, my parents, way, way back in the day, bought one of those timeshare things. You know, when you go, if any of you have been to Orlando or anywhere like that, they have those timeshare booths. And if you want to get tickets for free, I'm sure they probably do this in Vegas too. If you want to get tickets for free, like to go to Disney World or anything, you just go and watch these excuse me, that pizza, y'all. That pizza I just ate. And those onions are talking back to me. Anyway, where was I? So, the condos. So if you would just go watch any of their little spiels and go tour their, things, you get free tickets for everything. And if you don't have money when you go to Orlando, that's all you got to do. Just get yourself money for a hotel and go suffer through hours and hours of these things, but you'll get free tickets. So anyway, my parents had one of those timeshare things, and they always like to go to Orlando because, like, my great uncle worked at Disney World for a long time, and they always get, like, so you can let somebody in. They have to actually meet us at the park and escort us in the gate, but they can let us in. So whenever I go to, well, they've passed on now, but whenever we used to go to Disney, we used to be able to get in because of the, family connection. But their condo thing was like one of those things where you could get it anywhere. If you want to go to Idaho or California or like wherever you want to go, they have their sister things everywhere. So we chose Puerto Rico. I don't know why. I don't remember. I think I was just looking at pictures and I was like, ooh, palm trees. And back in the day, I could probably wear a bathing suit, so it wasn't as big of a deal as it would be now, where I just want to go to the woods and hide in a tent somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God. So off we went to Puerto Rico. In the condo, so when I get there, what I'm envisioning is the condo that we had in Orlando, which is so pretty and so cute, and everything is so quaint. And you got the little DVR with the movies, and well, this was back when there was DVRs. God bless America, y'all. It's all old school stuff. But they had like little blow dryers, little dishes, plates, everything that you would need was there. So I assumed that the Puerto Rico would be like the same version, but like cuter, right? But it wasn't, y'all. It was like in Puerto Rico, they thought you were going to steal everything. So they chained everything to the wall. I swear it sounds like I'm making this up while I'm saying this. So for music, like you would normally have a stereo with in-ear television and all that kind of stuff. No. They were scared of that. Puerto Rico, you got a giant boom box, just like back in the day, like on your shoulder, like boom, 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 boom box. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what a boom box is, then you're too young. You're gonna have to Google this. So the boom box chained to the wall, because I'm like, oh cool, boom box, like I could take it out on the porch and jam. No, chained to the wall, television chained to the wall. The if they couldn't chain it down, they glued it down, or it was something just not worth taking. Now, the one really cool thing about our room, y'all, one cool thing, there was a sliding glass door like the size of an entire wall in my living room, like a humongous 8 feet, 9 feet tall, huge, and you could just open that thing all the way up, and you're into the outside world. You go out on your little balcony. There was like a little bridge. I could see the mountains off in the background. Everything is painted like peach and white, and in Puerto Rico, it's just like the houses on the mountainside are like pastel pink and turquoise and lime green and purple and yellow, and I mean, it's so pretty. um, and so a lot of the condos are set up like that. So and you can see like the other part of the condos, there was a waterway in front of us. um, and so you could see across the way, and I mean, it was a gorgeous little view, and like no bugs. I don't know where the bugs are in Puerto Rico, y'all, but I didn't experience any. Now, we were on a resort area. We were like an hour and a half from San Juan. So San Juan is not, where I was in Puerto Rico is not the same thing as San Juan. In San Juan, you could see high-rise buildings with clothes all hanging on the line on all different floors. It almost looked like some parts of New York. But where I was, it was a resort area, meaning I don't even know, thousands and thousands of acres, right? Just off to itself. You would enter, the resort area, and that took you to all of the different resorts, in addition to like casinos and restaurants. We didn't need to leave the resort area for anything. They did have golf carts, so you could boot scoot around on golf carts. Now, that fool I was with did try to go straight up a mountain on a golf cart. Y'all, I took one look at that mountain, and I looked at that golf cart, and I looked at that mountain, and I got off the golf cart. I'm like, you go for it if you want to. I'm not doing it. And sure enough, it was just like in a movie. He went, and just slid right back down. But I thought we were going to flip over. I was like, I am not getting up in this. So we checked into our rooms. We walked around. We, checked out all of the sites. The beaches were just pure white sand, but you can't be on them at night. Like, I was so mad the first night. I'm like, we're gonna do it on the beach. You know what I mean? Like, we are in Puerto Rico now. This is our honeymoon. We are gonna do it on the beach. And we went out there, and security came. I was like, what in the world? Can't be on the beach after 10 o'clock. What is this? I don't understand how they regulate park and like beach areas and stuff. Like, if you're not that bright and you're going to go out there and get yourself hurt and killed or whatever, like, that should be your choice. And if you are bright and you just want to have sex on the beach, for Pete's sake, they should let you just do it. Go away. God bless America. Y'all, if I run this video too long, it'll cut off on me. I have experience with this. It's done it before. So I'm going to shut it off, turn it back on, and come back on and finish telling y'all this story. I'll be right back. Follow me over to the other section, little part 2.